Enjoy the show at AMC.
Alright guys, so I did go see Welcome to Marwen. Quick story about this. Actually, I was supposed to watch Aquaman as my next movie day, but Welcome to Marwen, I watched it to kill time to wait for Aquaman to start with my friends, of course. But then before I even walked into the theater for this movie, they actually called me for a job interview, and it was either the job interview or Aquaman. And I could see Aquaman another time. Job interviews pretty much only once. So, the Aquaman review is going to be a day late because, I do have that job interview and I do prefer going to that than seeing a movie that I could watch another time. But, that review is coming soon, so it's going to be just a day late. I promise you guys. But anyways, Welcome to Marwen. A really interesting story behind this one. This one's actually based on a true story of a guy who got jumped one night, and he was beaten so bad that he actually lost most of his memory. And this guy in this movie was actually used to telling these stories about World War II, and the way he told these stories was actually drawing pictures of them. And well, he can't even write anymore. So basically, the way that he tells these stories is through taking pictures of some figures that he actually has. And he actually takes pictures of them to basically tell these World War II stories. Well, this was actually a weird movie to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think that the only reason why Robert Zemeckis actually even directed this movie was to use motion capture with those certain scenes that revolve around the dolls that talk and move, and which was actually kind of creepy, to be honest with you. But I actually think that's the only reason why he directed this movie, to use the motion capture, because he hasn't done a motion capture movie in like 10 years. So I guess this movie was just an excuse to use the old motion capture gimmick. And I just don't think that Robert Zemeckis was the right choice to direct this movie. I would have preferred someone who could have understood more of what this story really needed to be. Someone who could get more into the story that of the character that Steve Carell plays here, because he's a guy who pretty much lost his memory and he just can't remember stuff well anymore, and he had something terrible happen to him. And I really do think that they could have covered more of that about his character in this movie, but they just really don't, because basically the whole time they depend on the moving and talking dolls aspect of the movie to tell the story for the most part, which being honest with you, it doesn't even really make sense, because for the story that they're trying to tell, it just doesn't make sense for them to tell the story in that perspective. Like the whole thing with the dolls where the main character and his friends are the good guys, while the guys who actually beat him up in real life are actually portrayed as Nazis in his World War II stories. It really seemed to have taken away something, the sole purpose of this movie for the most part. And I just wasn't a huge fan of how they were trying to get the story across us. And it just didn't end up working all that much. This was a very awkward movie to watch. It was very uncomfortable at times, actually. There's this one scene in particular where I was just cringing so much because of what was happening on screen, because it was just so embarrassing to watch. And there's also some bad writing in this movie, like some bad directions. And some of the editing here is actually quite bad as well. Actually a lot of the editing, the bad writing actually made me laugh out loud a lot of times while watching this movie. And the tone is very inconsistent. Like at times it wants to be funny, it wants to be a comedy, but at times it just quickly turns into a dramatic tone, and the movie just didn't have very much good timing when it comes to its tone. And another thing that I just didn't like about this movie is that the movie just felt incomplete. Like the overall ending of this movie it just felt like nothing paid off, basically. I just wasn't a huge fan of how they ended this movie. Although some things that I did like about this movie, the performances are quite good. You know, Steve Carell gives a very good performance in this movie. Leslie Mann plays a very likable character. I liked her a lot in this movie, and I enjoyed some of the other side performances. The motion capture, it's done by Robert Zemeckis, so the motion capture here is actually very good. Some of the cinematography here is quite nice too. And there are some actual good scenes in this movie. So, like, some scenes in this movie, it feels like it's actually a step in the right direction for the kind of story that is being told in this movie. I just wish that the whole movie was like that, because, again, this movie just relies way too much on the whole moving and talking doll aspect of the story to tell the story. And it just didn't really end up working. When it comes to Welcome to Marwen, it's a very mixed bag for me. Like, there's half things that I liked and half things that I just did not like about this movie. Welcome to Marwen, I don't know, it breaks my heart to give it a low score. Not exactly a low score, but a mixed score, because I really thought that this movie had so much potential into being a really good movie. But in the end, it's just right in the middle. This is definitely one that you guys should probably wait till Netflix or Redbox to rent. With that being said, I'm gonna give Welcome to Marwen a C. You know what, guys? There's better stuff out in theaters right now for you guys to go check out. And just sadly, Welcome to Marwen is not one of them. Again, even if you're curious about this movie, again, there's just so much out right now that you guys could be watching, like actual good stuff. I mean, we're talking about Spider-Verse, Bumblebee, Mary Poppins Returns, which I thought were all really good movies. You know, we got those movies out instead. So, Welcome to Marwen, wait for a rental. But if you guys did see this movie, let me know. I'm curious what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.